slowly. I can't walk
So,
any
so
other
this,
way
th-
anyway.
th- this in terms of, part of the problem, of course, will be that people take advantage of the fact that, there's no one living here and it's in darkness to dump.
Yeah.
We're constantly sort of dealing with this. I mean, it must be a nightmare for the residents.
It is, Joe. We've got it all the time.
Look, one of the reasons why I wanted to show people the problems that we face with these properties is just so they can get an extent of the extreme views of those that can say that we can save these properties. I'm passionate about these streets. My first house when we got married was bought in the Welsh Streets, in Gwendoline Street, about 5 minutes walk away from here. But if you look at the dilapidation of these, there's no foundations in the properties for a start. But if you look just to the extent of the work that would need doing on these properties, it shows you how absurd it is to actually claim that they're savable. Cheapest estimate is on the best property within the Welsh Streets. It would cost probably around about £50,000 to save one of them. The worst of these properties would cost over £100,000 to save. Yeah. So Bob, thanks for being with me and showing me around. And in a nutshell, this is probably one of the best properties. But just in your view, I mean, just looking at this room itself, and you can see where it's pulled away, and you can see how dangerous that is. What's your view as a surveyor on this property and whether it could be rescued?
Basically what we're getting a reoccurring problem with these properties. What you basically got, you got the best man be, and over a period of time it's supporting the upper floors, and that's the problem you have. And basically you've got a whole new floor and new facades on the front that you've got to deal with then.
And that of course then adds to the cost, doesn't it, in terms of in terms of refurbishing these properties.
Your first challenge is your structural engineer. Straight away you've got to get a structural engineer in to assess to the problems that you've got, and which is a big cost item obviously.
There are many more out of the 4 streets that are left here that are in a worse condition than 46. What I'm trying to do is give an honest flavour of the problems that we would face in serving these. Some people are arguing that this is a deliberate managed decline. Well, look, the reality is that only 5 years ago people were still living in some of these properties. So it's not managed decline. The people in this area have been waiting 11 years to actually get the hell out of these, this area and get some new properties built, because that's the problems that they face every single day. Eric Pickles or Save or the campaigners from down south don't put up with this every single day like the residents here. We inherited this problem. Government took away £127 million of market renewal. And the reality is that this government are deliberately, Eric Pickles and his department are deliberately stopping us going ahead. When in Gateshead, for instance, demolishing some terrace houses down there has just been given the go-ahead, and they've picked on Liverpool. The reality is this government talk about localism. Eric Pickles spouts about localism all the time. Whenever you hear him, he talks about devolving powers and giving local decision-making to people. Well, the people here have voted massively in favour, 80% to demolish the houses and get on with it. Even those that objected a few years ago have now joined in actually saying that they want the streets to be demolished. As you can see inside this one, number 34, we're not even allowed to go inside, but you can see just the state of that building, where it's actually fallen apart inside. It's actually crumbling away inside the building. You can see around the windows and around the main beams of the property where it's actually subsiding. And for me, that again shows the folly of the campaign to actually save these properties. And believe it or not, this is actually one of the streets, Winstay Street, that Save are arguing we should actually save. And this has probably, for me, got more of the worst problems than any of the other streets, where it's showing the dereliction, but also the way the properties are subsiding. Okay, Irene, we've been just doing a short film about the street and not just Winstay, but the other streets as well. But how do you feel about the decision to delay this even further by calling it in?
I'm absolutely disgusted. Totally disgusted in it. It's, as you say, it's been a long fight over 12 years now, and people that have been looking forward to new homes and they've passed away and not seen it. We've got people now that are in bad health because of the conditions they're living in. You know, it's just got to go ahead. It can't go on no more. It's ridiculous. There's nothing here to save. There's no heritage about it. We also, the percentage in favour was 83 for demolition. And they weren't pushed into it, they voted themselves. But I'd also like to know when they come up with localism.
Yeah.
They say, you know, localism, and yet they took it out of people's hands.
Just finally, I just want to say to people that, you know, when we talk about the political decision of this, it for me stinks of politics. And I'll tell you for the reason why. In Liverpool, we've got a scheme called Liverpool Waters. It's £5.5 billion with massive regeneration and big developments taking place. And the government didn't call that in. And yet we've got a scheme, £15 million, that is not of national importance. And yet the government have decided to call it in. You make your own judgments on whether that's politics or not, but in my view it's simply political interference for no reason other than spite and malice against Liverpool.